Chancellor Wilson, Professor Goel, Dean McLean, distinguished members of the Platform Party, parents, guests, and most importantly, graduates. It is an honor to share this day with you, to celebrate your achievements and to receive this honorary doctorate from the University of Toronto, my alma mater, and even more special, to share the same day with my mentor and teacher, Mary Morrison. It feels marvelous. I'm a musician. I sing operas, I conduct orchestras, and I practice a lot. And I've been doing so for many years. Music is one of the few careers that we can start training for as very young children. That doesn't exist in very many other fields. No one starts practicing law or medicine before they can even ride a bicycle or spell or put on their own snowsuit. I come from a small village called Waverley, Nova Scotia. My parents had 4 children. Music was very present in our home. My mother sang and played the piano constantly with us, and she has recordings of us singing melodies before we could even speak. Almost every night, my mom and sometimes my dad would sing to us as we went to sleep. They took requests. From my mother, we wanted songs from Mary Poppins, and from my dad, a rollicking Irish song called "The Pub's Got No Beer." Once we were finally tucked in, Mom would go downstairs and take her medicine. No, she didn't medicate with a stiff drink or collapse in front of the TV. Her medicine was playing the piano. We thought that she was playing for us to lull us to sleep, but it was for her. It was a precious time to let the stress of the day extend out through the tips of her fingers into the keys of that dark mahogany piano in the living room. We lived on a dirt road, and we walked, rain or shine, to the elementary school at the end of the street. When I was 6 years old, something very important happened. A new music teacher arrived at school, named Miss McEwen. It was her first teaching job, and she was a highly gifted musician who had boundless energy and took her job very seriously. I remember the first day that she was there and the way I felt somehow changed by it. And I remember running all the way home on the dirt road, eager to be the first to tell my mother about the magical new music teacher who could sing and play the piano so well and who wore long skirts and had glossy blonde hair and glasses. Our little community was a mix of well-to-do families who built cedar homes on the lake and some very poor families who lived in cramped houses near the railroad tracks. In Miss McEwen's music class, the only divisions between us were who was going to sing soprano and who was going to sing alto. She had us put on operettas and musicals and Christmas pageants, and we would rehearse for weeks and months, and all the community would come together, regardless of where or how we lived, to hear us sing our little hearts out. There are many parents here today, and I'm sure you're very proud and probably also a little bit relieved. I have my parents to thank for many things, and as I get older, I'm even more appreciative, because even if I had the talent to have a career in music, I needed parents who would support my talent, pay for lessons, make me practice, and spend hours upon hours in the car, whatever the weather, driving me and my siblings to our music lessons in the city every single day and weekends. When I was 17, everything changed. I left behind my family and friends in Nova Scotia, and I moved in with my aunts in Toronto to finish high school at the Etobicoke School of the Arts. It was at this time that I met Mary Morrison. With a letter of introduction from my singing teacher in Halifax, I went to her studio just over there at the Edward Johnson Building, and I auditioned for her. And she looked at me over her glasses, and she tried a few vocal exercises with me, and then, to my joy, she said that she would teach me. I raced home to my aunt's house with the same energy that I'd had as a 6-year-old when I ran home to tell my mother about Miss McEwen. It was at that point that I really started to work. Coming to Toronto and seeing all the talent and having a teacher of world-class caliber and the pace of a big city, it kicked me into a new gear, and since then, I've never stopped. I enrolled at U of T and benefited enormously from the knowledge of many professors and instructors over the course of my bachelor and master's degrees. I was like a kid in the candy shop, taking every course that I could, every elective I could cram in, going to concerts at night, spending hours in the fabulous U of T music library, hungrily poring over scores. But most important were my lessons with Mary Morrison. Our singing lessons were like joint discoveries, and they were seriously hard work and a lot of fun. We were finding the technical way to sustain a sound and breath in my body, carefully developing my instrument and exploring its capabilities. Every singing voice is different in weight, in color, in agility, and the voice needs to be technically trained, but at the same time, so does the soul of a musician. Mary recognized that my musical heart, like hers, was not satisfied in loving only the traditional repertoire. It needed more complex relationships, and so she guided me towards exploring modern music and towards working as she did with living composers. Now, I used to get very nervous while performing. Now I get very nervous. And I was often disappointed in myself that my fear prevented me from singing at my best. Thankfully, Mary was not looking always for technical perfection in every single performance. She encouraged me to take risks, and in doing so, I developed my courage like a muscle, which has been strong enough to carry me through over 20 years of a professional career. I hope for you that you will all find someone like that, a mentor who believes in you, who can advise and guide you, and who can encourage you to find your path. I've had many experiences along the road to Carnegie Hall, which felt like failures. And these are some of the most important experiences, the failures, because they hurt and they change something in us. They make us question and recommit to what we are doing. At the beginning of my career, there were many auditions where I did not get the job. And later, when I had the job, a few scathing reviews, which I can still quote from memory. And then, with some success, came loneliness and constant travel. And of course, every singer's nightmare, a sore throat the morning of opening night. We will all have failures and also triumphs, and some are more public than others. In the end, good or bad, I just go back to the rehearsal studio the next day and I warm up and I start practicing. What next? You must be asking yourselves that, and I certainly ask it of myself often. Sometimes it's resoundingly clear, and at other times, what next is a daunting abyss. You will ask yourself that question in a very serious way many, many times. You know, I spent most of my life training to be a singer, and then about 10 years ago, what next came up, and I started on a new adventure, conducting orchestras. And so now I sing opera and I conduct orchestras. And then there was another what next, because it was time for me to start mentoring my younger colleagues. On a day like today, but in fact in every day, I feel very thankful to have this career in music. I can't even call it a career. It's the center of my life. And I've had support from my parents, my aunts, my teacher and mentor, Mary Morrison, and several other important mentors along the way. A day like today is a milestone on a long road, not without its bumps and unexpected turns. I'm a singer and a conductor, and today I'm also a doctor. But I feel as if I've been a doctor for a long time, practicing medicine through music, and striving to remain true to my own Hippocratic oath, because music has such a healing power. I encourage all of you to ask yourselves how you can be healers in your chosen field and in your lives, how you can be doctors, and how you can contribute to strengthening the body of your respective communities. Congratulations and good luck.